Jai Jinendra, welcome to Adults Class 2, Practical Applications of Jainism. Let's start with the Nokar Mantra. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Ujayanam, Namo Loesavasanam, Eso Pancha Namo Karo, Sabha Pahopanasano, Mangalancha Savesim Paramam Have Mangalam. You have a lot of control over your life. You decide when to wake up, what to eat, what to wear, what medicine you want to take, what you want to buy, what advice you want to follow, and what advice you don't want to follow. But there are some things you can't control. You can't control aging. You can't control if your hearing and vision start to fade, right? You can't control if your memory becomes weak. You can't control if your mind becomes anxious or confused or fearful when you get older. And unfortunately, you have to prepare for that reality before that reality comes. Okay? Otherwise, you're in for so much bad karma that you will have erased all the gains that you made in your life if we don't prepare for getting older, for losing our hearing, our vision, losing our mental faculties. That is, we have to practice letting go, which we talk about all the time, before life takes things away. We have to be ready for life to take things away from us. We have to practice humility before we're forced to be humble. We have to practice accepting help before we actually need the help. So a question for you. Where do you feel a lot of control in your life?
The kids do.
Say it again?
What the kids do.
What the kids do in your parenting. Right. Do you have a lot of control over your schedule?
Yeah. And
You have a lot of control over your routine?
Yeah, even work-wise.
Hi, come on in.
Work-wise also, I think. At
Right.
least the area or the things that I am responsible for,
Yeah.
have
Thank
a
you.
lot of control on what I do,
Right.
and what my team does.
Right. So now think about that and think about a moment where if somebody tried to tell you what to do in that area that you feel like you have a lot of control, would you immediately resist that?
Yeah.
Somebody tried to tell you what to do with your parenting, would you resist that? If somebody tried to tell you what to do at work, would you resist that? Right? So, maybe somebody might say, what if somebody told you, hey, you should see the doctor today? Would you resist that because you feel like you have a lot of control over your health? Or if somebody told you, hey, you shouldn't drive today, would you say, why are you asking that? Of course I'm going to drive today. I'm fine to drive, right? It's a kind of reaction that says, I know what I'm doing, don't tell me what to do. It's kind of ego, right? It's your ego talking, right? And that ego, sometimes it's based out of fear or maybe attachment or pride. But one day, one of these days, it'll be out of confusion. And so that's when we need to remember our concept of anitya. Anitya is one of the first bhavnas of the 12 bhavnas. It means transitoriness. And we usually think about anitya on physical things, right? Like the book says, all material things in the universe are transitory in nature, right? But remember, is your brain a physical thing or not?
It is.
Your brain is a physical thing, and it will deteriorate, and it is transitory just like everything else. And that means your judgment is also transitory. Your memory is transitory. You probably know your hearing and vision are transitory. And that means, of course, your ability to drive is transitory. Your ability to manage your own medicine is transitory. And so right now, because you have a lot of control in your life, other people rely on you. And you make the decisions, especially for your family. But there's going to be a time when that role reverses, and that your family might need to make the decisions for you. And then so, let's say in the example of your children, they might need to make important medical decisions for you. If your child asks you to take a pill, will you say yes or no? And you don't understand why. If your child asks you to take a vaccine, are you going to say yes or no? If your child asks you to stop driving one day, right? Are you going to let your ego do the talking? Or are you going to accept help? And that's the key part. A lot of us say that, sure, I will accept help. But the thing that we don't know is that our judgment is telling us something different. And your judgment is transitory. That's the part that's really hard to admit. And so, if we don't practice accepting help now, why do we think that we would be good at accepting help later? Right? If we don't practice humility now, why do we think that we would be a humble person later? A lot of you have done sports or have kids into sports, and they're always goofing off in practice. And the coach is always telling them, be intense, be focused. And they're like, coach, it's just practice. I'll turn it on in the game. But you can't turn it on in the game if you didn't turn it on in practice, right? So if you don't accept help now, what makes you think you'll accept help later?
If you don't have a realization that you need the help later, or you think you don't need it now.
That's the thing. You won't think you need help. I'm fine to drive. I feel great. I don't need to take that medicine. But this person is telling me otherwise. You may not have that realization. So, you know what? What in your life do you think is not going to change? You think, we all know that our physical body will fail, but a lot of us don't plan on our mental capacities being diminished.
So how do we help someone that, I'll give you an example, like my dad. He's been such a leader all his life, and now we think he needs to stop driving, but he wants to continue. So how do we make him realize?
It has to be, it's hard to do it because we're in control of us, we're not in control of other people.
Right.
We have to make him realize that it's time. So we have to have a relationship with him where we can tell him no. And we have to cultivate that kind of relationship with him. And he has to be a willing participant. On some level, it's not possible unless he buys in. And so we have to get that buy-in.
Driving is the one aspect that, if you think about it, for the day-to-day life, right? So other avenues to earn that trust or earn that their side of awareness probably requires more than just a dedicated driving discussion, right? So day-to-day interactions with them, obviously we are doing that all, but those little decisions when you involve and your decisions align with theirs, they will start having that understanding that you're on the same wavelength, and when we propose certain things, probably will go a long way. That's what I see on my side. Not for the driving issue, but some other stuff.
And it's about how we cultivate a relationship with that person where they don't become defensive when we bring up hard topics. They don't think that we're trying to control you, or this person's trying to control me, or this person doesn't have my best interest in mind. And to build that is hard from that side. We're talking about building it from the other side. That is, how do we do that ourselves? Are we able to listen to other people? And so, of course, the answer is humility, right? So Jane comes from the word Gina, and Gina means conqueror. And who are we conquering? We're conquering anger, ego, deceit, greed. And what are our weapons in the fight against anger, ego, deceit, greed? It's forgiveness, humility, straightforwardness, and contentment. So we're talking about humility today. Humility means that you recognize you're not the highest authority in all the situations, especially ones that you weren't. Humility means you recognize you have blind spots. I mean, hopefully they don't become blind spots because you recognize them. It means you can take correction. It means you can receive guidance, right? It means you can listen to something, you can listen to a hard conversation even though you don't like what you're hearing. And the real test of humility is not if you can listen to something you already agree with. It's if you can listen to something when your better judgment tells you otherwise. And that's the question. The primary point I want you to take home today is, who can tell you no? You might think, oh, that's easy. My spouse can tell me no. They tell me no all the time. But the question is, who can tell you no when you're 100% sure that you are right, and you will listen to and accept that no and reverse your decision? Do you have somebody like that in your life? And if you don't, you are on a path to destruction. Because it means your ego, one of your enemies, has no guardrail. There's nothing reining it in. It means your mind, it doesn't have any kind of emergency brake. And it means you haven't prepared for the day when your own judgment becomes unreliable. Does anybody have that person?
I do.
Oh, that's great.
And I was going to make it, I didn't want to interrupt, but I associate that with what we call Kalyan Mitra,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have two people in my life that, I pretty much, they challenge everything. And both of them are not Jains, which is amazing.
Yeah.
One is Muslim and one is Hindu.
Uh-huh.
And their mindset, I think they are more Jain than me.
Sure.
Their understanding about life is just amazing. So we talk about greed, we talk about mindsets, and I talk about me retiring after listening to you every time. And they say you already retired. You are doing what you're liking, and
Right.
like what's stopping you from not retiring? So, which is, again, I don't have a lot of friends, but these are my core group,
Right.
and I think they keep me in check. And my spouse is right here.
Right.
Yeah, she keeps me in check.
That's great. I think that we all have a lot to learn from you. Regarding just a side issue, you don't have to be Jain to go to moksha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with your belief in Jainism or not. It has to do with whether you get rid of all your karma or not. It certainly helps, but
Yeah, absolutely.
does anybody not have anybody like that in their life? And this is kind of like a revelation. Yeah, no problem.
But I think it's like you said, right? It's personality, your ego has like you just think you are right, you don't want other people to control, right? So
Right.
it's very hard to let it go.
Very hard. Yeah. But this is the one out of the 4 enemies we have in our life. And it's hard because control feels like safety. We like it, you know. We feel competent, we feel respected, we feel protected. When that control is taken away, we might feel small or we might feel dependent, right?
Yeah, there are a lot more reasons, right? You don't want to let go of that control, even though sometimes you know you are wrong because you are embarrassed, you're
Right.
egoistic, you don't want to let go of your control, you don't want to be wrong. There are so many different reasons.
Right. And that's your ego talking. That's what you're trying to protect when you do not accept help.
But you know what, David made a good point is when you know you are right, and again, I have a ego booster, right? I like, you know what, I know I'm right. And I talk to Sheetal and I know exactly where she's going to bring me. I say, right at the point.
Right.
Like, because I think again, I'm talking about myself, is I might think in one direction, but when talking to, learned is what I call them, right? I know they know more than me in certain subjects, and sometimes I know more than them, but overall, I think those are the learners that actually see the overall picture.
Right.
Than me thinking one direction.
Right.
Or in the moment kind of scenario. So,
All right. So, how do we get that? Is there an exercise that we can do? There is. Let's practice surrendering. So, for 1 week, starting today, for one time each day, so 7 times until next week, you let somebody else make a decision for you that you are used to making. Okay? It could be anything. It could be where you sit. It could be what we're going to eat today. It could be, it could be anything. You decide.
What they want to wear.
Right. And yeah, if you have it would help if you let the kids decide something you normally decide. The point is not that they get to do it.
right.
The point is you notice your reactions when it happens. If they say, "Great, Mom, you sit there. We're all gonna sit here." Now, what is going on in your mind? Okay. Do you immediately think that's not what I would have chosen? Are you irritated with them? Or do you want to correct them? Right? Do you want to explain why your way is better than their way? And how does that make you feel when you lose control? Do you feel disrespected? Or does it make you impatient when somebody else makes a decision that is not what you would have made? So you're monitoring your ego. You're seeing, well, is it in control of me or am I in control of it?
So delegation is considered that or no? Like if you delegate, are you letting it go or it's still considered you are controlling?
As long as you accept the outcome of your delegation. Yes.
I'm gonna ask my kids to wake themselves up when they want to. And then whatever consequences they have to deal with.
Right. And so remember the story of Mahavir asking for food. He goes around, he has the rule. Once a day, he asks for food. If there's food there, he accepts whatever's given. If there's no food there, no problem. Next day, same thing. No food, no problem. Next day, same thing. If there's no food for 5 months in a row, you starve, you die, no problem. Okay? Loss of control, right? Food, no problem. Whatever you give me, I'll eat, right? Okay, so tell me what decision you're going to give up. You have 7 of them to make this week. So tell me what you're going to do today. How are we going to practice humility? How are we going to practice fighting our ego? Because this class is not about sitting here and talking and wasting your time for an hour while your kids are doing something else. This class is about changing your life. See, the rubber meets the road here.
Exactly.
See, now he's asking me to think about my own life, and now I have nothing to say.
But going back to the kids thing that she said, why would we give them the consequence? What does that do to me? Like if I don't wake him up, like he has a test on Tuesday, so I'm trying to make him study, do whatever. What good it would do if I don't remind him? Like,
You're right. That's kind of a worse example. Let's delegate something that affects us.
right, exactly.
Yeah, and let's something that decision we're used to making that affects us or the family, and we'll have to live with the outcome. Say, Yash, you're choosing where we eat today. I'm not gonna say one thing. Whatever you choose, that's what we're gonna have.
But
Let's
she's
say-
saying she decides where to tell him to study at this particular time, right? Because he has a test.
Right.
So she's saying if I let that go, is
Well,
that
it's
okay?
not-
So I want the consequence to affect you. That
Yeah.
consequence
But-
will only affect the child, so it's not a great example.
But she thinks it's it affecting her because if he gets a bad grade, she feels like she's failing.
Oh, okay, all right. So then
Well,
allow
it's-
your child
it's-
to get a
But
bad
it's
grade.
both ways.
That's great. I love
no,
that.
but it would be both ways, right? I mean, it's him failing it.
Yes.
Just like she gave an example of not waking kids up, right?
Yes.
I mean, even though they have alarm clocks or whatever it is, but as a parent, how would it affect me or my soul if he goes to school late,
It won't.
right? So that's
Yeah.
what, like, so you
It
both of
shouldn't
them,
affect you.
right?
Let it go. That's what he's saying.
He's saying do something that will affect you.
That's what he's saying.
But
He's saying
it does affect you though.
Yeah.
It
No,
does.
but he doesn't.
Yeah, so,
no,
okay.
but how would it affect if he's okay? Let's say hypothetically, your girls or my boys don't go to school tomorrow. What are we gonna do with them?
Yeah, it affects us.
How,
Yeah, if they don't get to school
no,
on
because
time,
then
it
you're
affects us.
working and making sure they do something all day long. So how
So
is that?
it's increasing your blood pressure. You're already stressed. You see?
No, but I feel like what he was saying is as a point, or I guess I took it as if I want to wear something today and Krish tells me no, it doesn't look nice. I think that would affect my soul, right?
Right, your ego, because it has something to do with you.
Right, exactly.
Right. And that's what this exercise is for. Choose a decision that has a lot to do with you, that will affect you. And so then you learn to practice humility. You learn to lose control. You learn to accept what somebody is saying, despite your better judgment. Like, this looks horrible. I don't want to wear this, but no, I have to wear this. Krish said I had to wear
Right.
this, so I have to wear this.
Oh, you got a
And you lose
And it's
control.
her birthday week coming up, so you love it. It's a perfect timing.
No, but going back, and me and Sheetal always talk about this is, if he doesn't study and doesn't perform, so be it. Because we are only going to protect our kids to a certain age. After that, if we don't train from them right now, at age 20, if they decide to fail, it will be way horrible than they're failing at age 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah, that's right. You have to learn to allow your kids to fail, especially in small ways while they're younger, so that they can become resilient to fail so that they can cope with big failures.
Correct.
If they have a big failure later on, let's say they haven't failed anything at any task, and they fail a class in college, that will devastate them. That will devastate them much, much more than if we'd allowed them to fail and practice resilience
Correct.
growing up.
Also, we have to make them realize they failed or
So-
they didn't do good, right? So they feel horrible about it. Because you don't want them to feel, oh, it's okay. Oh, I did once, I can do it again, kind of thing.
It's not about them feeling horrible. It's about them having to suffer the consequences of their failure. It's not about the feeling bad part.
But then you also reward them. If
No.
you're doing,
Maybe when they fail, they will learn to do better
but
next
if
time.
they're doing good, they don't get any awards, right?
They-
It's only a
They
consequences
only,
they.
they award themselves by by being successful in life, right?
Okay, so you have your exercise for this week. Another exercise you should do to practice your humility, to fight your ego, is to accept help before you need it. So if you're carrying something and somebody says, "Hey, can I help you with that?" Say, "Yes, you can," even though you have it. You know, if somebody, we had a party for my daughter, and everybody asked me if they could bring something, and I said no because we had everything under control. But I think next time I'm going to say yes. Yes, you can bring something, and I'll say bring water or bring tortilla chips or bring. So practice saying accepting help, right? If somebody says, "Oh, let me drive, I can drive," say, "Okay, great, you drive." So when we practice accepting help, we will have built that muscle for the future when we need to accept help, right? And we'll be used to it, and people will be used to helping us.
I think that part is missing here in our culture here compared to in India. In India, it's so common. Like here, if I'm running out of, say, tomatoes and I'm making something, it's very hard to ask a neighbor or a friend, like, "Hey, can I have tomatoes from you?" Right? In India, it's like, yeah, you just go, it's like daily things,
Yeah.
right? It's
You just
like
walk
small
into
things.
their
Yeah,
fridge and grab a tomato and leave.
Yeah,
You know?
you need help, you ask, like it's very common, right? Like you said, they have party, they ask each other help. I think it's here when we are, it's very difficult for us to ask other people because we feel, oh, it's inconvenience to
Right.
others. We are being mindful, but
Right.
is it truly, if you have that kind of good friend or relationship, should we be that mindful?
Yeah, it's you feel like, oh, you don't want to be a burden to somebody else, but
Exactly.
it's not being a burden.
If they said no, be ready for it.
Yeah, but you know your friend,
Yeah.
right? Like,
But people like helping. Like I feel good
Absolutely.
when somebody asks me for
Absolutely.
help.
We don't
you
ask
know?
for that, absolutely right.
But I have a question for that. If you ask for help, or let's say for driving, and then someone drives, and then you criticize the driver.
Oh no, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. You're
Or
supposed to
if it is-
ask for
yeah.
help and accept whatever help is
Okay.
given. Yeah, you can't criticize the help after after doing it, right? And so, especially we do this with our children all the time. They say, "Oh, let me help you to do that," and then we let them help, even though like it's something on the computer that they figured out how to do, and we let them help even though we know how to do it because we want them to feel good about that. Even if somebody asks you for help with something that you can do, don't say no, I can do this. Say yes, thank you. So that's one way we can practice our vinay, or humility. So the third exercise we can do is to find that person that is allowed to tell us no against our better judgment and practice that. You know, it may be your spouse, it may be a friend, it may be a family member, but allow that person to influence your behavior. That's kind of advanced activity compared to the 7 small things, but it's important to cultivate that, because once you get in a mindset of not doing that, then if you're in trouble and you refuse help, right, you are going to incur so much himsa, anger, ego within your family for years, okay? If you are fighting with your children about, no, it's not my time to give up the keys, I can still drive, I'm doing this, and this conversation could last years, right? How much negative karma are you binding to your soul that could have been nothing? It could have been a time for you to focus on nirjara, but now instead you're binding negative karma to your soul because of your ego, because you won't let go, because you haven't practiced letting go. Because once it was time for you to do that, you didn't have the resources you needed to accept help. And that's what this is for. That we need to practice doing this now so we don't acquire negative karma, so we don't acquire bad karma when we have these fights later on. We don't want them to be fights later on. Questions or comments about anything we talked about? Okay, you guys distracted me a little bit, but I realized that you were trying to change the subject. Tell me, you have 7 things to do, one each day. 7 decisions you're used to making that you must give up. Tell me what one of them is.
Can you just quick recap for
Yeah.
benefit who's
Yeah.
like me?
We are talking about humility today. It's one of our weapons against ego. And we are talking about how to practice it. And how to, if you are 100% sure you're right, but somebody else is telling you you're wrong, do you have anybody in your life who you'll say, against my better judgment, I am listening to what you say and I will accept your decision? And if you don't have that, you are on a path to self-destruction. And so one of the ways we can do that is to practice accepting help now. And so I tasked us with 1 decision a day for 1 week. We're giving up 1 decision a day.
Don't decide what you're going to eat.
Okay, great. So don't decide what you're going to eat, even though you're used to deciding that. Let somebody else do it, and you just have to accept it.
I think that's the easy part for the men's.
I would say what's difficult, as you describe and as I understand, for men, is to not, I guess, continue your ego, the male ego. And again, if I go back into mine and have my ideas, my perceptions, that I said that they are the right and they are the truth, and that's the way it should be. It's not that something that I would like to do as part of this is actually, even when I'm right or I feel I'm right, take a step back and listen, especially with the family members, and I think that will make my life easier. So that's something I would like to do, whether it's food, whether it's kids' homework that I'm helping with, or something that I'm telling Karika, my wife, saying, hey, this is the way it should be. I think I should just listen rather than saying that.
Yeah, but not just listen, not just reconsider. You have to accept their decision. Even though that's the hard part. You think you're 100% right. I feel fine. I feel healthy. You're asking me to take this pill. I don't understand why. I don't know what this pill does. But you have to take the pill anyway. That's the hard part.
And feel okay about it.
And feel okay and feel good about that, right?
No, but good part.
Yeah, it's like.
Right, so honestly, I think this whole conversation is right, and I'm pretty sure Piyush told you to talk about it. I can finally say. So my biggest problem is not working out, right? Like I was consistent, I let it go, not getting it. So the only thing we fight about is working out.
Right.
And he's like, go work out, and I'm like, no, I'm busy, I'm tired, I have this.
Right.
I know there are a lot of excuses, I know it's good for me, but I just don't do it.
Right.
Even though I know I'm wrong, I'm still not saying yes to it.
Right.
And then comes the ego and control, like, why are you telling me? I know, I'm embarrassed. So like
Yeah.
all these excuses.
Why are you telling me
Yeah,
what to do?
and
I
now-
know it's healthy for me. I
Literally.
know I'm making a sacrifice, and why are you? Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's like, just because you're telling me, I'm not going to
I
do
don't
it.
want to do it.
And I know I'm hurting myself. It's all my ego, my control talking. But I think I'm going to one day let it go and
Yeah.
do it.
One day he'll tell you that and say yes. Okay.
One day.
Yeah.
I will decide.
No,
He needs me to freak out.
One day this week. One day this week, and then you have 6 other ones to do.
Those are the easy ones. Those I can do with kids. But this is the biggest
Yeah.
one that I really know
Yeah.
that should matter.
That's great. It takes a big person to admit that. It takes a lot of self-reflection to do that, and so I'm glad that you're able to do that. I'm glad that you're able to see that people, because it's depends where your mindset is. If somebody tells you to clean your house, if it's a stranger, you're like, why the hell are you telling me to clean my house? But if it's your family member, you're like, oh, maybe I should clean my house. Maybe I should get my life in order. Sometimes we don't know who has our best interest in heart. Okay, I'd like to get an update from Eden. Now, Eden is 3 months into his battle with anger, and he took up my challenge. And my challenge is, if you start working on your anger, you could get rid of it from your life completely in 1 year. And so he is 3 months in. So I'd like to get an update.
So this is, I'm actually starting on 3 now. I'm a little bit behind schedule. I haven't quite, I took a look at what I'm supposed to do for month 3. One part was read a book about anger.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, but I feel like kind of, just one scan isn't going to just keep me going for the whole month. So I may need to sort of repeatedly read it.
Right.
I've done the anger journal, reflection. I think it's, I've kind of identified there's sort of different kinds of anger that I deal with. Some are very easy, like, or relatively easy, like if there's like anything in relationship or interpersonal, things like that, because it's at least you can kind of put yourself in the other person's head and say, okay, from their perspective, I see why they did this, so I can have been in that situation, I can understand, or even if the other person is wrong, I can still accept that, that this is something I can't control, and this is something I expect that will happen, and I don't get angry. And what I found was harder was more abstract things, especially since I'm in Israel, and for much of those 2 months we were living through the war with Iran.
Of course.
It was, it was very. It's one thing to say, okay, here's someone I love, or here's a close friend, or someone at work, or something like that. Like, but you can't put yourself into the sort of headspace of what is this country doing? What is
Right.
my country doing? What is this other country doing? Why are they? Why are they having this war? Because
Right.
you're not going to launch a war against someone. You're a
Right.
human being. You're one single person. So that was much harder, and what I really sort of had to really focus on, or remind myself, was kind of a clear separation between I can sort of judge that this is not okay. I can sort of, I can be clear about I'm against this war, I'm against all wars. I think this is wrong. There's a lot of things that are going on. I'm opposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to be angry. And I had to sort of remind myself several times, like, okay, agreeing, they're saying. I don't have to be angry about something is not the same as saying this is okay.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing your realizations with us and telling us, giving us an update on you. And we're here to help you, and we're here. We're all here to help each other. This is what doing the work sounds like: is having these realizations, trying to identify these spots in your life, trying to fight these spots in your life. Doing the work. This is what it sounds like. This is what spiritual progress sounds like. So thank you so much. We're definitely here for you, and we're proud of you very much for working on this. And we'll ask for updates as we go along. Questions or comments about anything we talked about today?
Can you give us some options on the 7 days?
Sure. Yeah. What are people thinking that they want to do? How do you want to practice humility? What decisions are you used to making? And who can you give them up to? Let's start with that.
Like pretty much everything, right?
Yeah. The list is.
But like small decisions like food or what kids would wear or small things like that, you can let it go.
Okay. So what decisions are you used to making every day?
So Sheetal makes most of the decisions.
Okay.
So she asked me what to cook, and I tell her, baby, you cook
What to
everything
cook?
fine. So cooking decisions.
Maybe you need to start making those decisions.
That is so hard.
That's why it is.
So ask Sheetal what she's gonna give up.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. So of course I work related, I don't know. I really can't think of what should I give up. Like I can't give up anything on the work side.
Okay.
Don't sit at the computer for 10 hours.
That is the one of I don't know how would I survive.
You just said you're ready to retire.
Yeah, but I said it.
How about you let Yash pick where everybody sits at the table tonight, or even not at the table? How about you let Krish teach you something that you already know? Go up to him and say, "Hey, I know you know about this. Can you tell me about it?" How about you
Let them decide how to spend a weekend or celebrate birthday or Mother's Day.
How about you say, Yash, you get to pick my outfit today, and I have to wear whatever you say, and I'll have to wear it all day.
Yeah, I work from home, so I'm okay with it. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So one of those. Okay, I understand now.
Right. It's about letting go of the decisions that you make. So one day, when Krish says, Dad, I need the keys from you, and you say, I love you, son. Here are my keys.
Right.
And not, I'm fine. I feel fine. Nothing's wrong. I haven't gotten into an accident. Everything's fine. You don't want to say that.
Mm.
You don't want to make it even worse, like, why are you trying to steal my independence?
So what if Chris does say, I want your keys so I can drive?
That is different, right?
No, it's a decision, you know the right, you don't want to let him drive because he's not ready.
No. It's not about letting him drive. It's about it's about being too old to drive.
Mm.
No, but it's his decision, right? Chris says, I can drive. No, but that is not something.
No. I'm talking about
Beyond.
in the future when Kinjal has to give up driving for good.
I'm old.
Okay, for good.
For good. And Chris says, take the keys and never give the keys back.
What if he says right now is that temporarily Chris says I want to drive. I got a permit.
No, but he's
and
not
I want
licensed.
Let's just say
Just me.
practical.
No, that's not the exercise. So we're planning on giving up control, practicing humility, so we don't get negative karma when the time comes, and then we fight with people that have our best interest in mind, that are asking us to do something we don't want to do.
I mean, the example you gave was clothing, and that's.
Yeah, we have to start small. We can't start
Exactly.
big. We gotta start small and start giving it up.
What
Yeah.
Asif Daddy can eat today.
If you want to start bigger, you start bigger. What do you want to do?
Asif
I'll start with the clothes too.
Okay.
So, and I like what Tim is saying is because the small things we think it's easy to give up, but that is what you are building on, right?
Right.
So
I think it's more than don't just think what we do. Sometimes we don't do and people ask you to do. That's also equally important, right?
right.
Say, okay, you should be walking in the morning or 15 minutes after lunch or something. We don't do those things, even though they keep telling us. Maybe doing that is equally important than because we are taking a decision not to walk. Now they are deciding for us to walk.
I already said that. Don't worry, don't look at me.
How about doing what your doctor tells you? We don't do what our doctor tells us. How about practicing humility by accepting that your doctor knows what is best for you and doing that?
Yeah.
So, and it's all anitya, right? So, there's going to come a time in your life where your body's going to change. Your mind's going to change. Your relationships will change. Your role in the family is going to change. Your independence is going to change. And then you're always giving help. There comes a time when you may need to receive help. You will need to receive help. You're always giving instructions. There's going to come a time where you need to listen to instructions, right? And you can't stop anitya. But you can prepare.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So letting go control also means building more trust with the other person.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you don't have somebody you can trust right now, you have to get that person. And you have to have a relationship with somebody like that. And you have to start building it now.
So you start believing in them, even though they screw up, you give them chances to screw up and hoping that they will get better by the time you really need them. It's kind of the gist of it.
No, I don't, from what I think, it's you trust the person. So let's say you trust Piyush to say, oh, this doesn't look good, to change it. Like something that, or your decision not to quit your job or to quit your job. To trust his decision
But
over your decision.
But how do you deal with the fact that I myself believe that I'm a better decision maker than the other person?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
How do you just let
You've
that-
identified the hard part. What we've been talking about all along.
You trust the other person.
I 100% think that I am right.
Yeah.
But I will listen to you because I know that sometimes I don't see things clearly. I may be wrong. I 100% think I'm right. But there may be a time, this may be a time where my judgment is failing me. And I trust you. And I trust you have my best interests at heart. So I will not do this thing or do this thing. I will do this thing you're telling me to do or not do this thing you're telling me not to do. Because I know that my decisions may be faulty.
Then we expect that from the kids a lot. Whatever we are telling you, have to listen because we know we are making a decision, even though they try to argue back. They're like, no, we know better than you.
Yeah.
But letting them decide.
That's right. Usually around this time we talk about our children, right? And this is one time we don't have to do it. Our children lead very regimented lives. They're used to being overridden in their decisions by people who have their best interests at heart. They know better than we do how to live with the loss of control. They know better than we do what humility feels like. So we can actually learn from our children in this respect. They are going to be teaching us. We're not going to be teaching them.
So is it fair to say that I will give up telling my kids what to do?
No.
No.
No. You're not doing that. You are accepting help. Right now you have a lot of control in your life, but that won't always be the case. And when that's not the case, you don't want to constantly be fighting and throw the family in turmoil and put your soul at risk and erase all the good work you've done in your life by introducing anger and ego into the family and causing negative energy, causing friction in the family by fighting your loss of independence, which is inevitable. And so you are cultivating a relationship with your family now in order to prepare for that future so you can protect the spiritual gains you've made in this life.
I think what makes me think, and sometimes we talk about family, right? If we take this out of the context of family into work environment, think about a supervisor or a manager who gave you a job. He knew what needs to be done exactly the way, right? But this person lets you do what you want to do. Either you succeeded or you failed. If you failed as supervisor, he stood behind you, right? He was humble in a way. He said, this is how it needs to be done, but he didn't tell you that and let you fail. In that case, that's a trust building process that, okay, I failed, but somebody stood by me. So that person, and he also found something different than what he had in his mind that could be done. So in the same way, if you are the boss and if you tell your subordinate that do like this, give 10 steps, which we usually end up doing our kids, like this is how exactly you should do it because we have that authority over them. Whereas the employee, we may not have that level of authority and we let them fail sometime. But we see a different aspect of their personality that we build up on. It's the trust process, right? And then if they fail, we support them and say, okay, this is now, maybe you can try this. And now they know, okay, he knows how to do it. Or the other way is like, oh, they completely surprise you and come up with something, a creative way that you didn't even think of. And that's what the innovation is about, right? Because we have our own way of doing things. And if we give exactly the same script, same process, the result won't be different. But if other person does it, So connecting it to a humility in a way that you kind of give up your decision or authority of saying this is how you should do, whether it's kids, whether it's a subordinate or somebody else. And I think it could bring, you kind of happy that you sublime your ego, you became humble, something new came out. If they fail, then you get a time to sort of build up that trust. So it's I think it's a win-win in a situation. If you think like that, you feel like, okay, I mean, one example I like, we have a special seating process, and I'm going to try it because I'm going to say, okay, we rotate now. Everybody sits at a different place, and maybe it'll bring something
No,
different.
you can't do
Don't
it.
say that.
You can't.
You can.
You decide. It come from you.
Okay, it can't come from me. Okay,
No,
how can
yeah,
I
you have to
naturally,
let it go?
how do I let naturally? I sit somewhere
Let them
else?
decide.
You say you're in charge. I will accept your decision on where.
Okay,
you're sitting.
fair enough.
You can't do it.
Something like that. But I feel like if there is a more than even in practical sense, we can see other advantages of doing so.
Yeah.
I'll give you a simple example at my age, what they made us do. And now we travel anytime. They have made it a rule that we are not going to drive to the airport, and we accepted that. And they make arrangements, whatever, whoever comes and picks up or takes us. They don't come and pick us up, they were in the ride for us, and then the person brings us back and stuff like that, and it has worked really well. And in the beginning, I think it's a little hard to say, okay, I can drive, why can't I go to the airport? But the children, the son-in-laws, both of them, all of them decided, you're not driving.
So was it hard for you to give up?
And now we have means to do that, right? Because we are in this predicament of driving thing in this country, right?
Right.
Because we do not have a way of other transportation.
Correct.
Like say if you're in England, you could take a subway, you can go on a bus. You were in Japan, you can do that. I just came back from Japan, okay? So, and they really, really respect their elders, very much so, okay? And we have to learn a lot from them. But they told us, and we accept that decision. And I don't think we've driven to the airport in last few trips that we took.
Right.
No, but was it hard when they suggested that to you?
See, it wasn't very difficult for me. It was probably difficult for Rosik.
Right.
I'm sure. Okay, initially, right?
Right.
So the other thing is also now at this our age we try not to drive at night.
Right.
You know, so like if you have to go somewhere, like I have to come to there, I said, I don't want to drive, he's coming, he's going to bring me. So if you have so you have to let go.
Right.
Sometimes along the way you have to let go. And that happens in our careers too, right? When you get to a certain point in your career, you are not going to be able to perform like you were doing when you were 30 or 40 years old. And in medicine, I'm a doctor, so in medicine that happens, you decide at what age you are not competent, clinically competent. And then you have to decide, should I continue or should I give up? And if you don't give up, somebody else will make you give up. So you have, that is a loss of control, right? Like you have been in practicing and you know that your heads work, your hands work, you still can do it. But you're not be able to stay up all night to do calls anymore. And then you're going to say, should I spoil my health or should I give up?
I think it's more of like fear of one losing the control, second feeling you'll be useless. It's just too many emotional stuff that goes with anything letting it go, right? It doesn't matter when you're older, even at this age, right?
Right.
When you're letting it go, it's not easy. You feel
No, it's not.
betrayed by so many things at the time. Like even it's like a small decision, right? If I'm going to make him decision, he's going to embarrass me, or what if he fails? So it's just too many bad things we already have in mind that we are not even ready to try to let it go.
Yeah, and those are our enemies. Those are the enemies we fight every day. Okay, so you guys have your marching orders. One decision each day for 1 week. Okay, and we'll talk about how it went. All right. Thank you so much for your time this week. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eden, for the update.